Hey guys, welcome back to the Shlog. It's Morgan and Angry Zach working on a tiny little motorcycle. It makes him feel good. He makes him feel like a bigger man, physically larger when he's working on small bikes. So he feels cooler. Welcome back to our weekly vlog slash shop. Anyway, Shlog is what we call it. Anyway, thanks for joining me. If you're new here, I hope you enjoy it. If you do, hit the subscribe button because that would be awesome. If you've been here forever, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. We got lots going on. I'm going to prep you for... We already had this bike here, and I did a valve adjustment, and something failed. So I don't know if it's me, if I did something wrong. I have to believe that I screwed this thing up somehow, some way. It ran for quite a while. It ran good here. But then it did something bad. So make sure you stay tuned. We're all going to learn something because I think all signs point to me doing something wrong, and it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And I would like to take this opportunity for all of us to learn what not to mess up. So anyway, let's get on with it. All right, guys, I'm laughing. You wouldn't think I'd be laughing when I'm dealing with a problem that I obviously caused on a motorcycle, but I'm laughing at Zach because he just said that his body hurts. We rode yesterday with Meg's Brap, and it was epic and awesome, and clearly too much for Zach. So it was awesome. I personally feel fine. So the old guy feels great, but poor little Zach is struggling over there. So anyway, let's get into this thing. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on here. This is the right side of the motor. You can see that the cover is completely jacked up. Now this customer is a wonderful man and is not freaking out about that. Fortunately, he has another motorcycle. Also, he is just a good dude and understands that sometimes mistakes happen. He also knows that I'm going to take care of this no matter what happened. I'm going to deal with it, no problem. If you guys watched the last video, the last Shlog, it was me doing valve adjustment, and everything went well. Bike started up good. The battery was a little bit dead, whatever. I delivered the bike to him, and he rode it for the rest of the Meg's Brap clinic. No problems. Started up, ran great. He took it out to the desert in Grand Junction, rode it. No problems for 16 miles, and all of a sudden it made a bunch of noise and stopped. Well, actually, he stopped. It didn't stop. It'll actually start right now. I'm not going to hit the button because I don't want to do any more damage. But that is the side with the auto decompression. So it looks like the auto decompression did that. Now, I don't know what could possibly have caused that. I also don't know why there's not more oil everywhere. We didn't do an oil change or anything like that. The crankcase is full of oil. We checked the oil, make sure that was good. So this is a real weird one. So join me as we get in here. If you have any guesses as to why that would happen, whether it was something I did or something like that, I mean, I don't know. It's a bummer. Like, anyway, life is not about how you deal with successes. It's about how you deal with mistakes and failures. So today is one of those days that I get to figure out how to deal with things. So I'm going to take that valve cover off, and we're going to find out what's going on. So those bolts were obviously nice and tight, nothing there. I think I see what happened. Fortunately, there's plenty of oil up here. Oil everywhere. And let that go. I don't know how that can happen, honestly. I'm not sure. I'm looking in there, the keeper's still in there. This, I believe, was in its home. I mean, when I put this on, all these bolts are tight, everything. So all I can think, guys, is that I didn't get this lined up and it'll let this slide out, and I must not have had it lined up. I didn't think you could really mess that up, but it looks like it did. So now we're gonna dig in there deeper and see what parts we have to order. All these bolts, guys, are nice and tight. I was concerned that maybe I put this on backwards and it started something for a while, but it's definitely on right. There's an arrow going the right way. I don't think you could put it on backwards. All right, we're super confused here. So if you look right in here, there actually is a lack of oil, and this roller is completely flattened, and I don't know. It's making me feel less like it's my fault because looks like maybe the oil was the issue that caused things to go south. You know what, guys? I have maybe a theory. Because, like I said, there's plenty of oil in the crankcase right now. And yeah, I got a theory. I'm not going to say what it is yet because I want to check some stuff. If you guys, my theory lies in this little oil filter. Can't believe that this gentleman would do this, but on Hondas, if you put the oil filter in backwards, they starve the top end for oil. And it's pretty hard to do, but it's not impossible. So, no. So, it's in correctly. But it looks like that. And that's not awesome. So well, the plot thickens, guys. I don't know. The only thing, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my footage even more, but I am not sure what is going on here. It's like there's definitely aluminum because it would have been pumping that. I don't know if that aluminum then caused it or what. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I haven't figured it out yet. Definitely some super ruined stuff. So well, it's good. He didn't put the oil filter backwards. That's good. I didn't leave anything loose. The only thing I can think is, I mean, maybe I had it in there and it came out, wiped it out, and as it did that, the aluminum filled up the oil pump. Maybe it is my fault, guys. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to call the customer and talk to him about exactly what happened, how it did its thing, and then we're going to go from there. Oh, man, guys. So upon lots of inspection and looking at things, I have determined that I believe this was my fault. There's no way to tell for sure, but it basically has to be, because I think what happened was as I put the cam back in, I must have nudged that bearing over to the outside, to the right, just a little bit, so that the cam cap could come over and sit down, and the little clip it would basically miss the bearing, so it would just end up on one side of the bearing over here, and instead of on it, and then the bearing would have been pushed up against the auto decompression just a little bit, but not enough to make it not start or not do anything. And so it started and ran great, but it was pushing that thing out just a little bit, and then there's not a lot of room in there. And then as the motor heated up and things moving around, whatever, it pushed that bearing further out to the right, and then it pushed the auto decompression into the side of the valve cover, and then that started wearing aluminum, right? And that aluminum went all over the head, everywhere, and then sadly clogged up the oil filter, which then starved the top for oil, but it was still running, right? And things was running just fine, and then caused the damage to the head. So, yeah, this is a big bummer. I'm really, really, really sad right now. I haven't messed anything up like this in a long time. But I learned something. I learned that you can actually put that together wrong. I didn't think you could. I honestly had no clue that you could do that the wrong way. As long as you got everything lined up and it was all oriented the right way and all that. I really didn't think you could do it wrong, but obviously I did. Now, here's a little lesson for all of you people. So, if I were not an honest person, I could convince my customer that there was some sort of oil blockage which caused things to go, and it was that caused it first. It wouldn't be all that hard to do, because, you know, things happen. He did have an air filter come off one time and got a bunch of dirt in the motor. You know, like, there's lots of ways that I could lie and save myself a whole bunch of money and time, but I can't do that. I'm an honest person. I'm sick to my stomach because this is going to be very expensive and take a bunch of time, and really the part that really hurts is that my friend is going to be out a motorcycle for a little while we wait for parts. I really hope we can get parts relatively quickly. I hope that's a thing. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be honest, because you know what? People make mistakes. Sadly, this is an expensive one. It's still less than going to school, though, right? So, it's still less than paying a teacher a whole bunch of money to teach me something. So it's an expensive lesson. I hope you guys now know. I hope you guys pay attention. If you have a CRF450RX and you're doing valve adjustments, really pay close attention, because if you look at this thing, that distance between the groove and the edge is not much, and all it took was that thing to be out that far, just a tiny bit. And it still looked fine. Like, I looked at the footage from my last thing, it looked great. Like, everything looked fine, and it ran fine, but it eventually caused this. So anyway, I'm going to now disassemble the rest of the motorcycle here so that I can get that head off and look down in the cylinder, make sure there's nothing wrong with the top end. It should be fine, because the very top is the first part to lose oil, and then the crank is splashing oil in the cylinder. But I am going to take a look in there. Obviously, if we need to order that, we'll order that too. Yeah, guys, lesson for you all, lesson for me. It's a bummer. All right, on to the next job. All right, guys, so the next on my list is actually this really nice F800 GS. I actually really like these bikes. As far as adventure bikes, are more like, I call them touring bikes, really. You can take it off-road and all that. I wouldn't get too crazy with it. I know guys do. I know they have a ton of fun. If it were my bike, I'd probably take it a little easy, do dirt roads, but it's super comfy, lots of power, good torque. Anyway, just changed the oil on that. But I wanted to tell you guys another thing that's awesome, is that we at Highland Cycles are now a Rugged Radios dealer. really super stoked about being a dealer for rugged radios. After riding with the Wolf Enduro guys and seeing how they use those radios, I was like, man, that's awesome. My boys and I have used the Scalar Rider communicators before, the Bluetooth, and they work fine. They got speakers in the helmet and you can answer your phone, all that BS, but I don't want to answer my phone to my helmet, by the way. And they work good. You can kind of talk over each other. You don't have to push the button to talk and all that. But seriously, as soon as you're out of sight, it's over. Like, so you go around a turn and it's done. So radios work way better. I've always known that. These things are really cool. I'm gonna set it up for my kid and me on our Wolf Fest right now. So let's do that. Let's do it together because I've never done it yet. All right, guys. So I opted for the digital UHF radios because they have a really long range. I also got the extra long range antenna for them because we're going to be in the mountains, in the trees, in the forest, whatever. Line of sight's not going to be that great, so I think this is going to be their best bet. The kit that I got, I'll show you what else comes with it. So radio is obviously the most important part. I think I'm going to set them up here on the back. And you got a nice super heavy clip, really good spring action there. Just going to take it, going to drop it in here, but actually first let me show you. Sorry, I'm new to this, I'm learning. So I got mics to go up front, so I think what we'll do, take our mic, that goes there, we'll come in here. So there we go, we got that sticking out. Now we're going to take this mic, and it also has the push to talk, and we're going to put it, so it's a, it's a speaker and mic with push to talk, and I'm going to run it here on him. So now when we're riding, he should be able to hear me if I talk to him even while he's riding. It won't be clear, probably won't be able to understand, but he'll know I'm talking. He can stop, listen there. So I think that's going to work good for this one. Now I'm going to go get my vest and mount it up on that. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take this off of here for now. And so the kits that I got have an earpiece that can go inside your, like an earbud in your helmet. I don't want to run that right now. I might try it later. I kind of rethought it after I bought them. Probably be pretty nice for actually while you're riding to be able to talk to someone. Maybe they'll actually hear what you're saying. So I am going to try it. I'm excited to try it, but I'm not going to do it tonight. Let's put that there. And this, I think, needs to go lower because the spot is always up kind of high. So I'm going to go onto this bottom one. And on mine, just for grins, I think I'm going to put it on the outside just to try it. I don't know if that's a great idea or not, but I saw the Wolf guys, some of them running outside, some of them running inside, but I think that'll be good. That'll hold it there. Come over, plug that in like that, and we're good. So yeah, I think this is going to be awesome, guys. I'm really excited. I think I might get a zip tie to kind of hold that, just so it doesn't want to fall down. So just zip tie like that, just as like a guide, just to keep it from wanting to fall down over my shoulder. But I think that is going to be awesome. Really super stoked. I think I might figure out some sort of zip tie thing for here to make sure that stays so it doesn't want to pop off. I think it's pretty secure, but I'm not going to take a chance with an expensive radio. So, alright guys, so this setup, well, first of all, check it out. I put a zip tie through one of the Molly Daisy chains and down through and around. I think that's going to be awesome because it's actually going to hold that in so that can't get ripped out and hold the radio in place. So super happy about that. Also, I'm excited to test the ruggedness of these and see how truly rugged they are. And this setup, they call it the, what do we call it? The Patrol Pack with the UHF radio. So this whole thing, the mic, and the earpiece is $265. The long range antenna is another $30. It's definitely not necessary, but I think it's going to be good in the mountains, riding into the trees and up over ridges and things like that. So yeah, guys, I'm really excited to try these things out. We're going to try them out this Thursday night, tonight, with my kids. And yeah, I'll definitely report back. We'll do a full review and everything, but really excited about being a dealer, excited about trying them out. I'm not going to stock them until I feel like they're good. I know the Wolf guys like them, so I'm sure they're going to be awesome, but like I said, until I know for 100% sure that I like them, I'm not going to try to sell them to you guys. So okay, guys, so back on my lift is the Chinese Honda 450. Nothing that we did, no problem. Well, there's a problem. So we installed a brake light switch on this, and because he wanted it to be street legal, even though it's got a title, and I explained to him that you really don't need to do it anyway, as long as it has license. So whatever, he's trying to be legal on it. That's cool. I get that 100%. So put a brake light switch on it. It all worked. His brother picked it up, took it home. Then all of a sudden the lights only worked when you revved it high. And they worked fine when you did that, but they didn't work at an idle. And it worked at an idle here, but so I'm like, okay, well, whatever, let's take it apart, take a look at it. And I mean, it's weird because it should run off the battery. It's got a key switch right there, so it should run off the battery. You turn the key on, it should turn at least the tail light on, but it didn't anyway. So I've been diagnosing it for a little while, and spoiler alert, I already know what's wrong, but I want to walk you guys through how I did this. So first of all, let me show you a really cool tool. This is the tool spotlight for this week. Is this lovely thing called a power probe. These things are super cool. So let me show you what we did. So take the power probe, hook it up, positive, negative. Now you've got the ability to supply positive or negative to anything with this tip, and it will tell you. So there we go. So if you look, you can see how many volts are in it. Let go there, and then if you touch ground, the green guy comes on. So it's cool. It tells you what's going on. So what I did is I started by turning the key on, and then this is the plug that goes to the headlight. And there's only 2 wires in. I've already checked and found, so, well, actually here, I'll show you. So we go here to the green. Get through the, I think you can see it goes green. Got through the insulation. So we know that's the ground. So this should be the power. And so nothing, and then we turn this on and light comes on. So there we go. So we know the light works, the headlight works. And then I think when I do that, you guys can't see, but the tail light comes on too. So as soon as I supply power to the headlight, the tail light comes on. So now we know that the wires between this and the tail light are good. So everything's fine that way. There's just no good power going to it. So then I know that it'll work when it revs up, which is, like I said, weird, but so when we rev it, oh, stay, and now it's staying on, which is weird. It will probably go off though, but that's actually interesting, and it also speaks to my point of what's going on with the regulator. The regulator is probably slowly dying, but anyway, so in looking at this whole situation, got it in here, and here's the plug for the regulator rectifier. It's got its normal power wires here, and a positive and negative, and then there's a blue wire right back there. So, oh, there we go. When I touch it, there we go. So, so as I'm fiddling with it, oh, look, it just came on. Welcome to Chinese wiring. So, as I was fiddling with it, it started flickering a little bit, and then what I did was I plugged this in and I supplied power directly to that wire. Oh, look there, it stopped. It's off now. So if we come in here, well, now it's on. Hang on. So what I did was I plugged my power probe into that blue wire right there, and I supplied it with 12 volts from the power probe, and it turned it on. So just now, I just figured out, so this is a weird system. This is a really weird system. So LED lights require DC power to work right. That's just the way they are. So instead of wiring the battery to the light so that when you turn the key on they just come on, what they did is they got a regulator rectifier that has AC in, DC out that goes to the battery to charge it, and then a separate DC out to run the lights. And it's really weird. And it turns out the real problem was actually just this connector right here was loose. And so, and it's probably because, yeah, so it moves. It's hard to see, guys, but basically you move it and it just comes unplugged. It's not tight. That's another China thing. So anyway, I'm gonna crimp that thing down, and then we should be good to go. We should be ready to rock. But I do not like Chinese stuff. Oh, right on, guys. That's a wrap for this week's Shlog. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that was informative. This was this was a really tough one for me to film with the mistake I made on the Honda. It's going to cost me a fair amount of time and a fair amount of money, but I guess I'm really happy that I got to share that with you guys, because it's real and it's a actual thing that happens to us mechanics, even if we're good. I feel like I'm a pretty darn good mechanic, but we make mistakes. I've actually looked into it, and it turns out that's a known problem with Hondas that you really have to pay close attention to. It's not one I've ever had to deal with before, so I hope that helps you guys. So if you have a new Honda, or if you're working on a newer Honda, that will keep you from having the same problem, because yeah, that's what we're here for. We're here to teach, inspire, get you guys fired up about working on stuff, and just know that people make mistakes, but also I hope that it shows that you be honest. You be honest, you tell the truth. It's always the easiest thing to remember. So I've already talked to the customer. He's been really kind. He told me he was so happy that the bike was here, because he knows that if he had dealt with a big dealership where he's from, they would have tried to push it off on a bearing failure or something like that, so they didn't have to pay for it. So anyway, tough one, but I hope you guys liked it. I hope it inspires you guys to do work and get your hands dirty and get in there and keep your bikes running good. I love you so much. I hope you spread the gospel of two wheels, and I desperately hope that what we're doing here is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!